I'm Al McFarland. Welcome to the conversation with Al McFarland. Today is a special live stream. I spent the evening, like many of you did, just checking out what's happening here in my neighborhood, North Minneapolis, with the ICE activity on Lindale and about 24th, I believe. And I wanted to take a minute to invite you to join in conversation with me. What does it mean when it's personal and closer to home than just watching it in the news when you drive up and down Lake Street or West Broadway or Lindale Avenue and see the unmarked vans or vehicles cruising and stopping people, camping outside of institutions like North Point Health and Wellness, like public schools and suburban, at bus stops where parents are dropping off kids to send their kid off to school. When you see officers pull up and arrest, detain parents as their children are put on a bus, how does it affect you? How does it affect us? I'm interested in your thoughts, your feelings. I'm having an open mic today just to have a conversation with you. If you want to weigh in, I'd love to have your point of view, share your point of view. Also, let people know in your circle that we're having the conversation. It's an open conversation. And I would say it's personal. It's personal to me because I live in North Minneapolis, and now what's happened has happened about 4 blocks from the Inside News office. We're officing on at the Marcus Garvey House at 18th and Bryant, and now 3 blocks away, 4 blocks away, major activity, major protest, and more to come. I have not yet personally been to the site. I've watched it all night long last night on television. I know some of the people, and I know certainly the streets and the scenes that were presented in the podcast and videographer coverage, the news coverage. So I'm familiar with it. And again, it makes me contemplate what does this mean for going to work. A lot of restaurants that have South American, Ecuadorian, Honduran wait staff and cooking staff are closing because people are afraid to come to work. And there are other businesses that are being affected as well. People are afraid. How do you feel about what's going on? Let me start by sharing a story that we'll be running in the upcoming edition of Insight News. By the way, insightnews.com, we're posting every day, www.insightnews.com for our latest collection, curation of content having to do with ICE and the protests, but also general news about the world and the country. Again, if you want to join this conversation, I'm going to post in the link or in the comment section how you can jump on the call with me. We'd love to have your point of view. Let me do that right now. In the comment section, you'll see a note that, let's see, it's posted there, that includes the address to join us on StreamYard. Now, I'm going to show that on the screen. And if you follow that note, you'll be able to see the link. Maybe it's too long. I'll come back and I'll do that again and just put the link in. I'll come back to that in just a second. But if you want to join the program, here it is in this next one. There's the link. And I think you can see that. Let me double check. Yeah, copy the link. Copy the link there and click on. Celery says hi. Celery, thank you. Appreciate you for checking this out. And again, anybody else that wants to jump in this conversation, I want to have a conversation with you. I think it's one that we have to have, and the time is now. Again, Celery, thank you so much for dropping that note. If you want to join Celery, click on the link and I'll bring you on. You can have the conversation. Let me start off and set this by sharing the most recent story from Associated Press. We'll be using the story in next week's edition of Insight News. And the story, I think, was published maybe about an hour ago by AP. Let's see, January 15th at 11:25 a.m. And this is a copyright story by Associated Press. We are Associated Press members, and we are using this article as part of our purchase of agreement and services with Associated Press. The article reads, President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to invoke an 1807 law and deploy troops to quell what he called persistent protests against the federal officers sent to Minneapolis to enforce his administration's massive immigration crackdown. The threat comes a day after a man was shot and wounded by an immigration officer who had been attacked with a shovel and broom handle. The shooting further heightened the fear and anger that has radiated across the city since an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent fatally shot Renee Good in the head. Trump repeatedly threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, a rarely used federal law to deploy U.S. military or federalize the National Guard for domestic law enforcement over the objections of state governors. If enough corrupt politicians in Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. A quote from Donald Trump in his social media posts. Presidents have indeed invoked the law more than 24 times, most recently in 1992 by President George H.W. Bush to end unrest in Los Angeles. In that instance, local authorities had asked for the assistance. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison responded to Trump's post by saying he would challenge such an action in court. He's already suing to try to stop the surge by the Department of Homeland Security, which says it has made more than 2,000 arrests in the state since December. Of course, ICE is a DHS, Department of Homeland Security agency. Governor Tim Walz says, I'm making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign retribution. This is not who we are. And that's what our Governor Tim Walz said in X. Well, here's more background. Again, I'm Al McFarland. This program is The Conversation with Al McFarland. We stream live daily with different guests. Normally on Thursdays, we have book reviews by W.D. Foster with authors. Today, we're preempting that to talk to you about what's happening here in Minneapolis and around the country, around the world, as a matter of fact. So wherever you are, I'd love to have your input, your thoughts, and your comments. And I invite you to actually join the program by looking at the link and clicking on. If I can get you in, I will. A couple of notes here from the chat. So, you know, this is from, and you can see this, I'll make it larger. Jim Thomas. So the Trump administration has had a positive effect on my family and gas. Gas at $2 a gallon, eggs $1.99 a dozen, wages up, stocks through the roof, borders closed. Well, I guess you're happy, Jim Thomas, and thank you for sharing that. And for other people think you're happy, well, like Ryan says, congratulations, you're saving 20 cents. Well, if that's what a life is worth to you, then so be it. I'm concerned about the death of Renee Nicole Good last week. I'm concerned about the people that were shot last night here in my neighborhood in North Minneapolis. I'm not happy with that. So, and I'm not sure, you know, where Floyd 612 is coming from. He says he needs to do that. He also needs to declare martial law when he does it. So apparently, Floyd, you feel that the president is right in sending the ICE troopers, ICE enforcement officials into Minneapolis, but you're just saying he needs to declare martial law when he does it. Thank you for your comments. If you want to join and say it in person, we'd love to have you. You see the link, come on in and we'll bring you and your voice to our public. Sassy Mo 59, thank you for your comment, says everyone is a target in the U.S. Everyone. And here's another competing point of view. Good for Trump and the American people. So, people are where they are. And people see the world the way they see it. They see it through their own lens, their own vision and version of reality and truth, and their own desire for opportunity. And, God bless everybody. And we think it's important to have conversations like this. Sassy Mo, I agree with you. She says Trump will be impeached by his own party. If they fail, I think they should. I don't believe they will, but if they shouldn't or don't, I think the Democrats have to develop the kahunas, the courage to take this thing to the hilt. And Nikki El Shabazz, Minneapolis citizens are not the enemy. That's how we're being portrayed by the president of the United States, and that's a tragedy. Raslin, thank you for your comments, and she says thank you for your good work. Raslin, haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you around here. Thank you for all you do and your family in the community. I'm Al McFarland. We're just hanging out today to talk about what happened yesterday. I see Tyrone Vincent he says he's a Black American in Portugal, and to him, what's happening here looks like a horror show. And I think you're right. That's a good description. I think people are feeling that horror and that terror in the community. So we'll see what happens. Dara Jones, I think she's making reference to the statement about Trump being impeached. And she says it's not going to happen, or she could be talking about the previous statement where one of the viewers said that Trump should just declare martial law when he encroaches on the sovereignty of the states and cities. She could be referring to that. But thank you for the comment, Dara. Thank you so much. If you got a comment, please drop it in the chat. We want to hear from you. I'm going to continue to read some of the the breaking news story from the Associated Press that I was reading, and we'll come back to more comments. Again, the link in the comment section, I'm posting again how you can join. I want to copy that now, and I'll just put the link by itself without the comment, so it's easy to get to. So look in the comment or in the chat, and you'll see the link. And if you want to join, just click on, and I'll bring you into the conversation. I'm going to continue now reading the story that's going to be appearing in next week's Insight News. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, become subscribers to our channel, our YouTube channel in particular, but support us on all the other platforms that you may be in. LinkedIn, a lot of people join us from there. Thank you. And your voice is important. Your version, our versions of the truth are important. Let's communicate. Let's speak loudly, clearly, and speak always about the world that we want to create, the world that we deserve, and the world where justice and truth and equity reign supreme. So the next section of the Associated Press article says protests, tear gas, and another shooting. In Minneapolis, smoke-filled streets Wednesday night near the site of the latest shooting as federal officers wearing gas masks and helmets fired tear gas into a small crowd. Protesters responded by throwing rocks and shooting fireworks. Demonstrations have become common in Minneapolis since Good was fatally shot on January 7th. Agents who have yanked people from their cars and homes have been confronted by angry bystanders demanding they leave. This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in. And at the same time, we're trying to find a way forward to keep people safe, to protect our neighbors, to maintain order, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said. Frey said the federal force, 5 times the size of the city's 600 police officer force, has, quote unquote, invaded Minneapolis, and that residents are scared and angry. Let's sit with that for a second. Can you imagine that? I just wasn't thinking about it. You see law enforcement, local police officers every day, up and down the streets when you make your rounds and in community. And, you might see 1 or 2 here or there, if there's something going on, a siren, but you're just not conscious of that. But this note here from the mayor says 600 sworn officers. And you figure that is for a 24-hour shift. So at a given time, 200 police officers are on duty under regular circumstances. So compare that, the mayor is saying, and rightfully so, with this invasion, this infusion of over 3,000 now federal officers cruising, up and down residential and business streets in Minneapolis. And from our point of view, stopping people willy-nilly. I saw a report of someone who was driving and just got pulled over. And cops asked him for his ID. So they're doing this randomly. And that's crazy. I think it's unacceptable. That article I'm reading is from Associated Press. The next section of the article said, shooting followed a chase. Homeland Security said in a statement that the federal law enforcement officers on Wednesday stopped a driver from Venezuela who is in the U.S. illegally. The person drove off, then crashed into a parked car before fleeing on foot, DHS said. Officers caught up, and then two other people arrived, and the three started attacking the officer. Fearing for his life and safety, this is the DHS again, as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life, DHS said. The confrontation took place about 4.5 miles where Good was killed in South Minneapolis. Police Chief Brian O'Hara said the shot man was being treated for non-life-threatening injury. Two others are in custody, DHS said. O'Hara's account of what happened largely echoed that of Homeland Security. So Jonathan Ross, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer who killed Good, suffered internal bleeding to his torso during the encounter, a Homeland Security official told the Associated Press. The official spoke to AP on condition of anonymity in order to discuss Ross's medical condition. The official did not provide details about the severity of the injuries, and the agency did not respond to questions about the bleeding, how he suffered the injury, when it was diagnosed, or his medical treatment. Good was killed after three ICE officers surrounded her SUV on a snowy street near her home. Bystander video shows one officer ordering Good to open the door and grabbing the handle. As the vehicle begins to move forward, Ross, standing in front, raises his weapon and fires at least three shots at close range. He steps back as the SUV advances and turns. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has said Ross was struck by the vehicle and that Good was using her SUV as a weapon, a self-defense claim that has been criticized by Minnesota officials. Chris Modell, an attorney for Ross, declined to comment. Good's family has hired the same law firm that represented George Floyd's family in a $27 million settlement with Minneapolis. Floyd, who was Black, died after a white police officer pinned his neck to the ground in 2020. So that's the story from Associated Press. And it'll be in Monday's edition. The authors of the story, AP writers Steve Karnowski, Elena Durkin Richer, Hallie Golden, and Amir Madani. A good story. We're keeping you up to date. I'm Al McFarland. This is The Conversation with Al McFarland. I'm talking about what happened here in Minneapolis. Our office is North Minneapolis off of West Broadway and Bryant. We call our office the Marcus Garvey House. And I tell you that the incidents that unfolded last night, and I haven't checked yet what's going on right now. So if you're in the community, you're in the street doing something, hit me up. Just was to bring you in and have you part of this conversation. But last night, a person was shot. There were rumors that two people were shot, but apparently what I'm seeing now is a report that one was shot, and that's where we stand. If you're an eyewitness to any ICE activity, or how, if your organization, your institution has been impacted by the ICE presence, I'd love to have you join the conversation. The link is here. I'll place that where you can see it on the screen and leave it up in a couple of seconds here. So let's go back to the chat and see what some of you are saying. Thank you for posting. I invite you all to like on YouTube or whatever medium you're on, and share and subscribe to our channel. So let's see, I'm going to go back up to the chat and kind of share some of Thomas Berry. Thank you, Thomas. Says we have to be collectively calm during this chaos. And I totally agree with you. Help one another and protect our families. Brother Thomas Berry, thank you. Thomas Berry is one of the champions of the reparations movement and of civic engagement in Twin Cities. Thomas, join the conversation. If you see the link here, come on and let me share or hear your thoughts. In fact, so if you see I'll put the link up here, Thomas, and if you can capture this to click on it, I'd love to have you jump in the conversation here. Here, I'll post it again, just a second. And so Thomas, that's the link. And if you see it, or any of the people that are dropping, notes in, jump on, come on, let's have this conversation together. I'll leave that up and just share some more of the comments that people are making. And thank you all. Let's see. Go back to the scroll on the side here. Dara Jones said, yes, she was talking about Trump being impeached. She didn't think it's going to happen. Critical 509, thank you for your comment. Joining us on YouTube, says protesters don't throw rocks, rioters do. Critical 509 says protesters stay on the sidewalks and stay nonviolent. And then here's another person that has an opposite point of view, I guess, or a variation of it. Tactical Toll says what's going on in Minnesota is retarded. What do you mean? Say more. Let me hear what your thoughts are. Here's another comment from Mark. Mark, thanks for the comment. When the Democrats and liberals act like children and start breaking the law, if law enforcement does anything about it, you end up with chaos. Well, what law enforcement is doing is chaos, I think, Mark. But thank you for your comment. And a lot of people. So Mark goes on to say, maybe you should go down there for yourself and observe the facts. And they're not stopping people willy-nilly. Okay. Have you been there? Have you seen it? You should go as well. Mark continues, stop acting stupid and you won't get pulled over randomly. Okay, Mark. Cool. But Brett says people have a right to protest. Thank you, Brett. That's how the country was founded. I was listening to one of my favorite shows on Sirius XM 126. One of my favorite shows is with Greg Carr, I think, and a colleague in the morning. I'm also a part of a group called Narrative and Nubia. It's Black people that have created a social media experience where we share information. And one of the phrases I've heard that resonates with me, I'm going to ask you to think about this as well. They're describing the process that is at the core of formation of this country, the United States, as a criminal enterprise. And that's a shocking thing to hear someone call our country, our government, a criminal enterprise. But think about it. Think about the origin. So if you were, in London or somewhere in Europe and had invested and had underwritten some of the financing of merchant activity aimed at discovering wealth in new locations. And the locations that you funded ended up deciding that they didn't want you getting your dividend and decided to cut you off. From that person's point of view, what have you done? Something criminal, right? And so just another way of thinking, words matter. Words matter. How we define the world matters. And so when we look at, I also have in the current week's edition of Insight News, I'll show that in a second, I'll pull it up and show it, a photograph and an article that involved interview with one of our great elders here, Mahmoud El-Qadi. And the quote I pulled to make the headline for the front page story was that, the civil rights movement didn't start with Dr. Martin Luther King. We're going to be celebrating King's anniversary in a few days this next week, King Week. And he said, the struggle began when the first African was dragged kicking and screaming off of that boat onto the American soil. To that African, what was the formation? A criminal enterprise, a formation of people who had the power and had the evil that allowed dehumanize and enslave other human beings. For those, you could look at that experience as being the victim of a criminal enterprise. That enterprise emerged into statehood, right? And we are living in the unfolding of that experience. So language matters. So back to the chats here. Thank you all for listening. Like, share, tell somebody else we're having the conversation. And I'd love to have your voice. Thank you for dropping notes in the chat. Let me share some more of the notes in the chat. So Mark says, why do you have to defend the indefensible? Okay. And tactical toll again. I heard that Renee Good was on her way to pick up disabled nuns and take them to church when I stopped here. Now, I haven't heard that. And tactical troll, I don't know if you or somebody that's trolling, I don't know where you're coming from with that. So I'll leave that there. I'll leave it just where it is. Here's Mark is continuing to rail on Minneapolis. Mark, I'll put your comment up again. He calls our mayor stupid mayor of Minneapolis, claimed that the injury could have been caused by shutting a refrigerator door with his hip. So questioning whether or not the officer, in fact, as he claims, as Homeland Security claims, was hurt during this incident. Tactical troll again. So troll, I guess that's who you are. You're instigating. You've heard that ICE is shooting people of color for sport. So you know what? That's probably, thank you. And I don't know if there's any value there. So here's something, Dara Jones, thank you, Dara, for this comment. And this is worth talking about too. Dora Jones, Dora, thanks. Mr. McFarland, I've always said this, I'm going to continue to say it. This ain't our fault and it ain't our fight. Well, that's interesting because that conversation and that sentiment is really being expressed and debated widely in our community. And the question is, when is it our fight? Was it ever our fight? And what will it be in the future? And the question is, when they get done with the immigration issue, then what's next? And our experience, Dora, should tell us that we're always on the agenda, and the always meaning how to destabilize, dislodge, discredit, devalue, dehumanize, denigrate, dismiss our culture, our humanity, our personhood. And so if they attack it from the flanks, from the side, it's still ultimately an attack on humanity, and humanity is ours. That's what I think. But I appreciate the fact that you are saying what you're saying, that you're advising that a lot of Black people don't get caught up in the ICE immigration conversation, because from your point of view, I think your comments say this is not our fight and that we shouldn't be in it. Let me know if somebody else feels that way or feels differently. I don't feel that way. I think it's our fight. Uh, and I think that, and it's not that it's our fight, I think our ongoing fight is to bring decency into the world, to show that as human beings, we can all be better than we are, that we have a duty to dismantle systems, processes, practices that deny our humanity and that rob us from our civic, civil, and human rights. And 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 the rights that I'm looking for are never safe until those rights exist for every other human being on the planet. I think we got a role to play, but that's just my point of view, and I respect your point of view as well. Um, some more notes. So Nagon, I think that's how I say it the right way. The push with ICE now is to create more violence. They want pure chaos and terror. I agree with you. I think that's the agenda. How do you shake them up, and create a reaction, a resistance? And that's what the mayor is talking about. That's what the governor is talking about. Police chief, don't give them what they want. Don't engage them in a pissing contest, because you probably won't prevail, in that situation as protesters. So how do we protest but not fall victim to the anger that their activities engender in us? And those are honest feelings we have, but how do we be smart and let the world know? And by letting the world know, create a pressure that supports change. Let's see. And this one, I'm dropping Tactical Bull out of the program because he's got into the silly area. So Spider-Man, is making reference to Spider-Man. I didn't see your earlier post, so I'm not sure what you're talking about. You say you're not calling me a liar, but when you were speaking about ICE, you responded with your opinion. I must have missed it. I'll respond again. If you want to come on the show, Spider-Man, be glad to have you. The link I posted you can find the link in the chat, and come on and let's have a conversation. So this is interesting, there we go. So not giving it any air. That's that, so the chat is kicking. A lot of people are talking. Big Cheese is a regular, and I appreciate his comments. White tea folks are throwing water bottles and snowballs, fireworks, and interfering with impeding the ICE agents from performing their duties and deporting illegal immigrants. So that's your comment. Thank you. Spider-Man says Dr. Carr's description of America is apt. Thank you, Spider-Man, for that. It's scrolling down. I'm Alan McFarland. This is the conversation with Alan McFarland. Love to have your voice, and we thank you who are in the chat for sharing your points of view. Boyce Jones, Boyce, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long, long time. Let me share your comments. And Boyce, again, if you'd like to come on, hit the link, join the link. I'll put it up in a second. I'd love to have you actually in. So Boyce says the difference between Linden Hills neighborhood and the north side was evident in the fear in the eyes of ICE agents last night. Mark's pullover statement is draconian overview, once reserved for Black people, but now the general population knows our experience. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Here is the link again. And Boyce, if you can, if you're at your desktop, why don't you jump on the call here? Let's see. Hold on, I'll put it in again. And I'll post this. Oh, I see. So I put it in the chat. I'll put it on the screen too right now. And thanks for all this conversation. Thank you for all of you. That's it. If you're watching us on Black Press USA TV, on the Insight News channel, on LinkedIn, thank you for checking us out. Thank you for the likes and whatever you can do to expand the conversation. April Graves, Mayor, thank you for making a comment. Appreciate you checking us out. And some of the people that did liking, Riquette CISR, thank you for your comments. Thomas Berry, Terry Eason, thank all of you for reacting and liking this. We'd like everybody else to like it, to share it, and to subscribe to the channel as well. And if you want to join this conversation right now, just click on that link at the bottom of the screen right here. There we go. And I'll bring you in because I want to hear what you have to say. But if you feel like just talking on the stream, that's fine too, because that's fascinating. This is a good conversation. I'm going to go back to the screen. Dara had that. So, this guy, Dr. Gazongoa in Minneapolis, guess what, my friend, I'm dropping you. Don't need you. See you later. Don't come back. Don't need you. Okay. And who else is here? So this was interesting. Carl D7I. Love it or leave it. I hear Nigeria and Haiti await you. Well, is that supposed to be a threat? Is that a threat? Because it seems like our country has destabilized Haiti in particular, and has been in part responsible for the century-old imposition of tyranny on the Haitian people by supporting tyrannical dictators who allowed European and American interests to exploit the natural and human resources of the Haitian people. And they've done that consistently as a attempt to let the world know that these Africans in Haiti who overthrew the French army and gained their independence, and in doing so were responsible for the export of the idea of liberty and freedom throughout South America, who supported the players in Gran Colombia, the Colombian Bolivarian states of South America. And so there's something powerful and regenerative, despite the effort to destroy and abolish this character, this capability, the genius in Haitian people. Nigeria, 1 in 4 Africans on the continent are in Nigeria. I think 400 million, 500 million. And it's a rich resource, rich state, country. And So to threaten someone to go to Nigeria, I appreciate you saying that. I plan to go to Nigeria. I'd love to be in Haiti, but I'm not leaving here either. So from my point of view, Carl, yes to where I am right now, and yes to Nigeria, yes to Ghana, yes to Jamaica, yes to Cuba. All of those belong to me from my point of view and to us. So all the things that brought you to this moment, the lineages that pour into your present, are in you right now. And at some point in time, I believe we all have to sort of make a reflection and an account of those lineages and how they position us to navigate today, and also how they inform our desire to create futures that can serve humanity and serve justice and serve the Creator. So thank you for the comment. We used to hear it all the time, go back to Africa. Yeah, yes, yes. That reminds me, I've told this story before when one of the employees, writers for me, had gone to Africa. Her name was Azania Little, great family, great person. And she came back to her office. We were downtown Minneapolis, and she said, "Hello, African," addressing me. And I went to a reflex at that time. "What did you call me?" He said, "Hello, African." And so I said, "Say it again." And the more she said it, the better it sounded. And the issue I bring this up is that this country, you, Carl, and the network that you represent, have tried to portray everything Black or African as insufficient, inferior, negative, and instill in Black Americans and other immigrants, and not other immigrants, but Black American and succeeding immigrant populations, this idea that white is righteous and that Black and non-white is what, second choice, third choice, whatever. But right now, the awakening happening in individuals here and around the world allows us to look critically at the systemic violence and, as I said before, criminal activity, crimes against humanity that come out of Western Asia. Western Asia, what is that? Oh, they call it Europe. Think about it. Let me read some more of the comments here. And thank you all for listening. Appreciate your... So Carl goes on to say that there's still slavery in Africa, and some Africans sold other Africans into slavery. Carl, you need to go to school. You need to learn. There's still slavery in America as well. And but that's another conversation. So let me keep going. So Big Cheese says ICE agents are not targeting the foundational Black American family because they targeted us before, Big Cheese. That's why law enforcement was created in this country, slave catchers. That was the reason the militia were formed, in order to catch and return people that escaped enslavement, and police forces emerged out of that. So, they're using that system and process to go after immigrants, but when they're done, it'll be back to business as usual, I guarantee you. And you and I will be the objects, if we let them, of their lunacy and their desire to control the world. For them, God was their idea, and they want to act like, anyway, I'll stop with that. So let's keep going. I'm Al McFarland. This is the conversation with Al McFarland. We're just talking, kicking it with you, monitoring the chat. I read a piece from the Associated Press that will appear in next week's Inside News. I'm going to find another piece here that one of our writers has published that'll be in next week's paper as well. But I'm scrolling down the chat. Here's another one. Jerry Sally, Trump is trying to be a Hitler. Believe me, I'm from New York City. If you're black, this is your fight. Brother, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Then the response, though, however, is from my friend, the Big Cheese. This is a new day. The foundational Black American is not putting on the cape for non-FBA groups, especially illegal immigrants. Well, we can agree or not agree on that, brother, but thank you for the comments. See, here's a long comment, but I'll show it here. Any internal injury suffered by Agent Ross that contributed to his injuries, injuries he suffered in being dragged by his prior altercation with the subject. He has a history of not following protocol in his duties. He was also unholstering his weapon when she was backing up. He wanted to shoot her. He also walked to and from the crash showing no trauma or injury and then fled the scene. These are not protocols for federal police officers. Keep the peace and stop the chaos. Much respect to your paper. Thank you, Robert, for your comment. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. If you got a comment, we want to hear it, drop it in the chat. We've got a very lively, rich chat going on right now. And so just like you here's somebody responding to that. That's crap. It's the rioters' fault, and you know it. They're not peaceful protests. They're attacking ICE officers. That's what Gerald is saying. Okay. So what else we got here? I think I'm going to go to get a story that a couple of them that are written in our paper. I especially love the work of one of our columnists, Hallie Taylor Schlitz, a young attorney. She was formerly with the state AG's office. She's now moved into private practice with a major law firm here in Twin Cities, but she writes a column for Inside News regularly. And I want to pull, thank you, Big Cheese. You're saying the chat is on fire. Yes, it is. I agree. And we thank all of you who are in the chat. Keep the conversation going. We appreciate it. Boyce, again, another comment from you. Most onerous act by the good assassin was a statement. The most onerous act was a statement after firing the fatal shots. He uttered expletives to FB. So yeah. Horrible. And then let me block somebody else here. Ban the user, so that person's gone forever. Don't need you. Dora, again, thank you again for the comments. See, they don't even like us when we're out there putting our lives on the line for them, and they still think, I guess this is America owes African American descendants of slaves, and we still out here fighting for them. They need to cut that check, Mr. McFarland. Okay, so you're saying we're doing the work for building freedom and equity, but we need to get paid, and that's the difference. The difference between Haitians and Nigerians from FBA is that those non-FBA groups flee from white supremacy, and the FBA never flees. We have a history of resistance against white supremacy. Okay, interesting. And a response to the Big Cheese, you seem to forget the Haitian Revolution, 1804, signaled the end of slavery in the Western Hemisphere. Spiderman, thanks for the comment. Europe isn't a continent. Western Asia is definitely correct. Even Eurasia is a misnomer. Words matter, languages matter, and the language that we live in here, we have to question it, think, and then discover other ways of communicating, other languages that support our identity, our sense of being, and our expectations, our aspirations. So Okay. I'm Al McFarland. Again, this is the Conversation with Al McFarland. Got a great chat going. Hope you're involved in that. Thanks for the joining the chat. So I was going to do one more thing here, and that is pull up an article by Haley Taylor Schlitz, who is one of Insight's writers. Let me find it, and I'll share that with you. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, have your voice in the conversation, we'd love to have you in. Just click on the link, and we'd love to get you in the conversation. Let's see. Here's an interesting piece that I pulled from a Democracy Now! Post. Amy Goodman, fabulous job. Just can't find the file. Okay, let me do something different here. Here we go. I think this piece is from Haley. Just let me double check to make sure. No, that's not it. This is a piece that we put together. It's a staff piece. I'm trying to find a couple of good commentaries in our newspaper that I think you'd enjoy. But wherever you are, go to Inside News and pick up our paper. Check us out, and support the businesses that support our newspaper, so that we can keep doing the work we do. And the same thing on this channel. Let's see, that's not it. Still scrolling through my directory here for a story. A second here. So here's one that we rewrote from a post about Democracy Now! And it's an interesting story. I think you'll like it. I'll just read part of it. Some pictures go with it. But the headline of the story says, "Inside the ICE hiring blitz, minimal vetting, maximum controversy." When freelance journalist and military veteran Laura Jadid walked into a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE recruitment event in Texas in August of 2025, her intent was simple: to see what it took to apply for a job with one of the most controversial law enforcement agencies in the United States. What she encountered, she later wrote, raised grave questions about how the agency, in the midst of hiring surge, is recruiting and vetting new agents. At the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Career Expo outside Dallas, recruiters promise on-the-spot hiring, signing bonuses of up to $50,000, and a chance to serve as deportation officers. Jadid, a U.S. Army veteran with 2 tours of Afghanistan, submitted a resume, completed a brief interview that lasted roughly 6 minutes, and assumed she would never hear back, particularly given her outspoken criticisms of the Trump administration and hardline immigration enforcement. But several days later, she received what appeared to be a tentative job offer, despite never signing any paperwork, filling out required forms, and completing a background check, or even formally accepting the offer. Within weeks, she was summoned to a pre-employment drug test, which she took despite knowing she might not pass. When she logged back in to the hiring portal out of curiosity, she discovered something extraordinary. Her status was listed as having entered on duty as a deportation officer, and her background check was shown as scheduled in the future. It seems like the answer to the question, who are they hiring, is they don't know, Jadid told Democracy Now! Host Amy Goodman, describing her shock. So the story goes on. That story is going to be in Monday's Inside News. It's actually online right now at insidenews.com. But isn't that amazing? And so, we're making jokes about it. The commentators are about who they're picking up, where they're getting these guys from. We think that, the first number of hires for the goon squad for ICE were the J6ers, the people that he pardoned, and now is paying back with $50,000 signing bonuses, and they've got an axe to grind. So that story just tells you that they simply, are picking up anybody, and they're not doing professional work in vetting and hiring people. It's a show. Here's another piece that I have posted online today at InsideNews.com. It's kind of a ICE protest roundup, and so I'll kind of share with you as we continue some of the key elements that happened here in Minneapolis on January 14th. For example, it says, my article says, traffic stop chase shooting on 24th Avenue in North Minneapolis. What happened? Federal immigration officers attempted a targeted traffic stop in North Minneapolis around 6:57 p.m. Events escalated into a chase and then a confrontation outside and near a home on the 600 block of 24th Avenue North, where a man was shot in the leg by a federal immigration agent. Minnesota BCA and the FBI were reported on the scene, involved in investigation activity. The DHS version of the same is that DHS says the man, described as a Venezuelan and lacking legal status, fled the stop. A struggle occurred, and two bystanders allegedly joined in with a snow shovel and a broom handle or broomstick, leading the agent to fire in self-defense. That's their version. The local witnesses' accounts disputed elements are these. North News reported a 9/11 call via translator from a man's wife claiming agents followed him, hit his vehicle, and then shot him. The article also reports federal agents later entered the residence and he was transported to a hospital. Another community news source, Sahan Journal, includes neighborhood witnesses of a pursuit and hearing gunshots, plus uncertainty about the details, such as who used the broom or the shovel. The broader operation context, including North Minneapolis, is this. Local state officials describe a large federal surge operation across the Twin Cities, including Minneapolis, with allegations of aggressive tactics, stops, and arrests. The city of Minneapolis says Operation Metro Surge began in December 2025, bringing thousands of masked, armed DHS agents and ICE and CBP, Border Patrol, conducting raids and stops. The city and state allege unlawful actions and major public safety impacts. A PBS Associated Press report says the major surge is the largest immigration operation, and that report was January 6th. And DHS has reported on January 14th a release highlighting that the arrests in Minneapolis, highlighting arrests in Minneapolis, what they're doing. So as far as what happened on yesterday, January 14th, the protest took place around 24th and 25th Avenue North corridor. Reports describe crowds gathering quickly after the shooting, with community alerting, organizing, social media whistle warnings mentioning as a tactic for North Minneapolis. There were clashes and crowd control activities. ABC News reported that an unlawful assembly with fireworks and rocks thrown and law enforcement using crowd control measures. It places the confrontation at 24th Avenue North and notes ongoing clashes. North News was reporting at that time tear gas on Lindale at 24th and reported flash grenades, chemical irritants being used as crowds faced off with masked officers at 25th and Lindale and nearby intersections. Sahan Journal reported that tear gas was deployed multiple times, plus flashbangs and smoke and pepper balls as agents pushed people back. It also reported that an armored vehicle appeared at 23rd Avenue in Lindale, and continued conflict kept going until about 10 p.m. when the state patrol arrived and agents began exiting. So that's kind of an update. Well, we've been on this about an hour. Been a good conversation. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We've got the regular conversations with the Alan McFarland program. Friday, we call it the Healing Circle. I'm joined by Dr. B or Dr. Williams, and we're going to be interviewing people about, I think, aging is the topic tomorrow. But we want to sort of add to that a continued conversation about what's happening with ICE and with the resistance to ICE in our community here in Minneapolis. I want to thank all of you who have tuned in and been involved in a lively chat. And if you would, again, thank you, Nagon 11. Thank you. Appreciate your comments. And again, I think we should do this, more. I mean, if you think we should do it more, drop me a note. I mean, we don't have to do it just at 1 o'clock. We can stream anytime, night or day. If you think it's important for us to meet and have a conversation and to, throw back and forth, because as we've seen here, different points of view, and that's okay. It's healthy. I encourage everybody to feel how they feel. I encourage us all to be respectful and not be intentional, in our in trying to devalue other human beings. But I think we have to be intentional and have good conversations. So thank you all for being here. Again, drop me a note, and we'd love to have you with us tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow at 1. With if there's something happening tonight, we might go live again tonight and just continue this conversation. If you're interested, give me a quick thumbs up right now, if you would. If you think it's worth going tonight, again, if things are happening in the community, let me know, and we certainly will come back. Okay. I'm Alan McFarland. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.